as we think about the changing landscape, and you mentioned digital AI and automation and robotics and all those things, is there a concern that a large, you mentioned about digital literacy, but is there a concern that a large swathe of our society are going to struggle to find their place in this new economy? Do you have any nightmares? What do you think about that?
I'd say if anything would keep me awake at night, it would be that. Because I realized during COVID, because at that time I was involved with SIA, and then after that with the Skills Council, the fact that, lots of, maybe only 70% of students were able to access online work. 30% weren't. And those 30% were the 30% who were already disadvantaged. So there would be further disadvantage. So with all age groups very much in mind with the Skills Council, digital skills is something you have to embrace regardless to what age you are. You can't not use AI. I was blessed for most of my years, last 3 decades at work, that I had a secretary. Have no secretary anymore, so could not do without AI as an administrative assistant. And there are many people like me at my age group who are the same, who've had to learn and embrace digital skills. But that takes very little. It's we had a system in the past called the European Computer Driving License. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I thought you weren't old enough, Richard, to remember that.
I definitely am. Yeah.
But we need something the same with AI.
Yes.
Otherwise, people are using it for silly things, or not using it at all. But we need something similar there. I do worry about how schools will embrace AI. And some of the policies coming out in UK at the minute are very anti-generative AI being used in schools.
Okay.
But I know people who are in examination boards who are ready to embrace digital marking, AI marking. I know that I work for a body now that is international. And if we advertise something maybe with 20 places, the first shortlisting is done by AI because there's no way you could, sit and shortlist, maybe 1,000 candidates down to 50.
Yes,
so AI has to do the first. So I think it's must do. But I would worry how we ensure that a lot of children aren't left behind in digital literacy. And that just doesn't lie with schools, that lies with the communities as well. And if I point to the Department of Justice, for example, the Department of the Communities, DFE, and of course, Department of Education as well, that it's all of our responsibility to make sure schools are not left behind. And my past was with Dr. Noel Purdy from Stranmillis, 5 of us writing an action policy and an action plan on looking at underachievement in disadvantaged areas. And part of that was to address digital skills. Now, there was 180 million to be put aside for that across, a decade, really. And that was signed up by the whole executive. But to date, only a fraction of that has been spent. But now with the new RAISE funding, they are going into particular areas and helping to raise many different skills that would tackle it. But unfortunately, a lot of things are piecemeal. We can't afford this one to be piecemeal. So the best way to do it is through a school, that schools build digital literacy. Now, you can't build digital literacy with your students without building it with your staff.
Yeah.
So all IT policies in school need to change. They need to be digital, skills policies, focusing on AI as well. And then AI needs to find its way and its part into every single subject in the school as well. Yeah. And that is part of a huge curriculum review.
Yeah.
But I was, I know the person who's doing the curriculum review at the minute is using AI herself. So that's actually quite heartwarming to see.
Yeah.
So, and I think if we can crack that, we will bring the jobs. We will bring the jobs to here because we'll be educated to do that. And if you look at how the economy is going here, if we have a really good educated economy with numeracy, literacy, and digital literacy skills, we'll have really good jobs, which is the minister's wish. We'll not just have jobs, we'll have really good jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. We work with a lot of HR managers and talent leaders and people who are thinking about skills and people in their organizations. And one of the things that has cropped up a lot is the skills shortage vacancies. So when they have people coming forward to apply jobs, but they don't meet the grade, they don't have the right skills, qualifications, or experience. So in your role as skills counsel, if an HR manager or talent acquisition professional is listening to this, what is the skills counsel doing to try and help in some ways bridge that gap? Our economy needs this. Our people on average are this. There's this gap that's been created. What can the skills counsel do to try and bridge that gap for those businesses out there?
Well, at the minute, one of our subcommittees is actually looking at the skills supply. Another is actually looking at education and skills. Currently, that's focusing on level 3, because you can't focus on everything.
Okay.
But to see exactly what's there and what's missing.
Level 3, just is that it's like A levels, B Tech? That?
If you look at it at A level, it's B Tech as well, and it's anything above Word, GCSE, and a level 2 B Tech.
Okay.
Because they had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Their next tranche after that would be look elsewhere. Because that's where we have the shortage of skills at the minute at level 3 and level 4. So they're looking at where those skill shortages are. Now, not exactly where those skill shortages are, but where regionally we're short. Because there'll be certain people who will say to me in Fermanagh, for example, we would need this skill, but I would have to go to Belfast in order to acquire this skill. So we need regions to be more agile in focusing on certain skills. And I know that Southwest Regional College does an awful lot on skills, but clearly if we identify a skills gap for either sustainable, environmental work, then that has to be satisfied both in FE and HE.
Yeah.
And I think the city deals have a place to play here as well in how they're actually building skills. It's the agility which we turn to solve a skills issue, where somebody turns up and says, we need 20, whatever. With a bit of planning in industry, they need to start looking at future skills, because you can't suddenly turn people out like a template.
Yeah.
There is a lead-in time for training.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know, many of us are looking at the microcredits, in the Republic of Ireland. I don't know if that would work here, but it's worth exploring how we can build skills, but not within a normal school curriculum time or not within a normal FE curriculum time. But that will mean that industry will have to go in there and work very much with FE or schools to say, listen, we need X, Y, and Z, but we will help you do that, because it is likely that the person who's training you in the school or the education environment will not be up to speed with the latest changes in technology and ISO numbers, etc. So it needs to be a very collaborative effort, because I think skills have become so particular to that industry. And I suppose one of the recent successes has been the joint training between FE and the construction industry on BIM.
Yeah.
And that was very successfully completed. But that needs to be done in other areas as well. But then they tend to speak with one voice. If you're sitting in an industry somewhere that doesn't speak with one voice, you're less liable to get things done. Now, that's a hint to any industry. If you're sitting and you're fragmented yourselves and you're not working together, you'll not get the benefits, because sometimes we have maybe a number of bodies that are not in the same industry area, but they're not necessarily working together. So therefore, they don't know what their joint ask is.